Hey, and welcome to my channel. And what you're seeing right now is me making the thumbnail. I feel like I've gotten really good at making thumbnails recently. I remember getting a comment on this video, 6 colors for Persona 6, complimenting my thumbnail here. And I feel like I've only really gotten better at it since. This one is one I'm really proud of, the one for my 6 demon designs from Nocturne. I really love how this thumbnail turned out. And I also really like how the one for Shin Megami Tensei 2 turned out as well. So, yeah, I feel like I've gotten really good, and back to the topic of this video, I say as you literally watch me make the thumbnail, or experiment with making the thumbnail until I see what really works, what really feels right. So for a while now, I have wanted to go back to doing unscripted content because a lot of people probably don't remember this, but what used to happen was I did unscripted content for this channel, uh, and I've wanted to go back to that for a while now. I've wanted to, because I really liked the raw, unscripted feeling of the content. Actually, I think that's good there, or maybe, yeah, I like that more, maybe more center. Yeah, that's good. So I really, as I was saying, I really liked the, rawness, the, you know, didn't feel very, forced, even though I think a lot of my scripted content has been generally more polished and turned out better. I do think that there is a place for my unscripted stuff on this channel, and so I sort of want to see and make a return to that. So that's where this video comes in. So what I've done is, see, I've basically written down 6 things I'd like to see in Persona 6. And right now I'm just going to recite them off here and basically then try to explain myself without any script. And so as you can see right here, the first thing I have is a thematic use of the color green. And what I basically mean by that is that I basically want it to be very neutral, like not in a lot of like not in ways that term would lead you to believe, but it's more so the neutral alignment or balance as it used to be called in older games. And I actually did get a comment on my previous video, not my previous video, I mean my 6 colors for Persona 6 video, all the way back in November, wherein a comment actually said that they would not want to see a neutral Persona green because they basically have problems of centralism. And that comment's always kind of stuck with me, not because I disagree, but because I agree, but like also because that very sentiment is why I want to see a green Persona 6 tackle neutrality. Because we have a lot of games in the series that tackle the alignment from different angles, and I really do appreciate that. I really like that about the series. Because I feel like if every single game was, alright, here is each of the 3 aspects of the alignment, uncritically and unbiased, then it would become very repetitive very quickly. So having a bias and using that to explore the alignments in more interesting perspectives is very welcome. And I feel like Chaos specifically has had very good explorations. King Abaddon, the game I'm currently playing, that's a very good one. It's a very good example of the nuance that can come with individualism versus collectivism. Which is better for society or for yourself? Should you sacrifice personal liberties for the sake of those you love? And I found that really interesting. And I also feel like Nocturne is also a very fantastic game when it comes to the chaos alignment, because all of those reasons are basically a form of law, whereas denying them are forms of chaos. So I really appreciate when a series does that. And even though I don't think that there are many games that really tackle law very well, it at the very least does have some good endings. I really like the law ending in Shin Megami Tensei 1, for example. Law is portrayed very realistically, and while it's naturally an extreme conclusion, it's also a logical one and doesn't really detract from the alignment. You can still see the pros and cons. I mean, SMT1 is very good with alignments, if I'm being honest. I think that it does a very good job with balance as well, because in that game it actually makes a case for balance rather than just fetishizing it as the only good one, because other two sides are just extremes. Oh, look at them. It's basically the horseshoe theory. And so that's why I've wanted to see a balanced game in the series. Because I want to see more nuance in that alignment specifically. Because that one honestly feels the most bland. It just doesn't have much to it other than the repetitive notion that the other two sides are bad, therefore neutral is good. For Apocalypse was especially bad with this. This was also sort of an expected bias in SMT5, which was really confusing. I mean, SMT5 does a horrible job with the alignment system in general, but I feel like this mindset of just making neutral the be-all end-all of good in balance without actually showing or acknowledging balance has been really detrimental to the series as of late. And that's why I want to see a series like Persona, which has done very well for both Law and Chaos with Persona 3 and 5, do so to neutral, because that's just something that the series sorely needs. And so that's why I want a thematic use of the color green, because green can represent balance in both color theory, and for the series, green has actually been used to represent neutrality. And it can also represent other things like healing and nature, which I also feel will really help with that specific angle of neutrality. And on that topic, let's just go on to the second one, because that kind of ties into the color green, and that is a rural setting. Maybe a return to Inaba. So basically, most games in SMT, and by Atlas in general, even outside of SMT, happen in urban settings, happen in big cities, especially Tokyo and or fictional big cities like it. But like but one of the reason I really love Persona 4 is because of Inaba. Inaba has such this intimate small town feel. There's this sense of discovery when you find something to do, when everybody says they are out in the sticks and there isn't much, but you can find a lot of things to do anyway. And it's really, really wholesome, really exciting. And I've always really loved that about Inaba, so I would like a rural setting, not only because it would be a nice change of pace, but also because it would be really, really, I guess what I want to say is that it has the potential to be something different for the series, because I feel that a rural setting innately has different advantages and disadvantages than an urban one. Because the big city, while they can definitely feel alive and that definitely has a place, I also feel that a rural setting can be equally interesting and also will have things that just can't be done in an urban setting. You know, maybe going on hikes, finding hidden things out in nature, maybe some really cool hidden secrets that can only be found out in the forest or something. And one thing that I really feel Inaba fell short in was exploring the nature around the town. It's something I would have wanted to see more of, and I hope to see in Persona 6. Um, and so moving on to number 3 is keep the stealth mechanic. Or I guess what I wanted, that's what I wrote down, but what I really mean is to not make the battles a chore to avoid. Because, like, I know I'm in the minority, but I actually do prefer random battles over the field encounters because I feel like it did actually add a lot to the sense of isolation in earlier games. And I feel like it's kind of faded away as the series implemented field encounters. Because while I definitely do feel like they have their place in game design, and I definitely feel that Persona suffered a lot less than mainline, I do feel like it wasn't until the stealth mechanic that it really became actually engaging to engage at the to engage at the field encounters, because now there's a chance to avoid, there's a meta of trying to get around them, and it's something that I just didn't feel was really prevalent in mainline or any game previously, where they're just sort of a chore. I remember SMT4 specifically had this really annoying habit of just spawning enemies as virtual data where I was standing or moving, basically making it feel a lot more unfair than random encounters where you actually have to move in order to activate them, so I could get my bearings, rotate the camera, and try and navigate a path. And that just wasn't something that I could get from Persona games or SMT4 because enemies could basically come and launch towards you. Uh, but I definitely do think that the stealth mechanic really alleviated that because just sneaking around and trying to avoid enemy detection when possible was really, really refreshing and really fun. Like, even though the stealth mechanic in Persona 5 is not really that good, like, the I've literally just been able to walk up to enemies without them seeing me or just noticing me as I approach, which is kind of weird. So I guess I'd like for the stealth mechanic to be sort of polished, to be a bit more fair and uh, basically just a lot more polished, I guess. I'm having trouble trying to articulate beyond that. So I guess I'll just move on to number 4, which is expand upon Featherman. So, like, Featherman is basically a tokusatsu within the Persona universe. It plays a pretty major role in Persona 2, and it's made frequent cameos since. So, it's basically the in-universe Super Sentai, I believe. And what I'd like is for that to be expanded upon, because I have been watching tokusatsu recently. I have been watching Super Sentai and stuff like that. So I'd like to see that expanded upon in Persona, especially because I feel like it has, potential, especially with Persona. I mean, Featherman Persona 4 has literal costumes for Featherman, and I really like that to return because I don't think it did in Persona 5. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it didn't. And I'd like to see at least the costumes return, and maybe some lore about Featherman expanded upon, like, it doesn't have to be, intimately tied with the series or anything, like, every week a new episode of Featherman appears, and from there you have to fight an enemy that matches the monster of the week in Featherman. Although now that I say that out loud, that is actually, a pretty interesting idea. Uh, Doubt they'll do it, but it's pretty interesting now that I've said it out loud. But I would like to, but back to my topic, I just want to see things like these little flourishes and world building details elaborated upon. And it doesn't have to be major, it doesn't have to be a major plot revelation or anything. It can just be in a bit of side content that you can miss, but seek out if you want, like, maybe you can use your phone to access a fake web page for Featherman that says, like, it is now on its 26th season or something like that. Featherman Z. Alright, yeah, okay, I'm just going to move on. So number 5 is social link options. Now, what I mean by that is branching social link options. And what I mean is basically in Persona 3 and 4, there were different clubs you could join that would affect social links. Now, in Persona 3, this basically just changed the club aesthetic, but the link was identical otherwise. Maybe a few details were different, but for the most part, it was the same character, the same sporting or art event, and they ended the same way. Whereas in Persona 4, what actually happened was for the Strength and the Sun Arcana, what happened was you got completely and utterly different stories depending on which club you joined, which were also completely different characters who represented that Arcana. And that's something that sort of was missed in Persona 5. Like, I played Persona 5 before 4 and 3, but looking back, it's something that I'd like to see back in Persona 6 moving forward. So that's just something that I'd like. And the final thing is, well, actually, do I really want to move on? Well, no, I actually have a video about potential clubs for Persona 6 in the works. Spoiler for my next list of 6, I guess. Hopefully that'll be the June one. I mean, this is a point that I feel like I still want to elaborate on, but I'm just having trouble with my feelings at the moment. So I'm just going to pause quickly to try and gather my thoughts. Okay, so I paused for a while and I'm still got nothing, so yeah, I will move on. So number 6, our final thing is a tear-jerking social link. So, like, I don't think I should need to... So I think that Akanari doesn't need much of an introduction. He's widely considered to be the best social link in all of Persona, and part of that really stems from just how much of a tearjerker his social link is. Akanari is literally dying, and I don't want to spoil it because I think it is that good. And I really feel like no other social link since then has really been as emotionally impactful. Like, they've gotten close in some areas, but I would definitely like another social link like Akanari's that really makes me tear up and really, really both sad, but in a cathartic way that media enables. So yeah, a really tragic social link that really pulls on your heartstrings because I don't feel like the social links in Persona 4 and 5 really managed that. And it doesn't have to be many, I think just one would easily suffice. It's just something that I feel would be really nice to include, because I think that there are a lot of great social links in P4 and 5. I don't think that many of them have come as close to Akinari's. Some definitely have been better than others, and they can be better in different ways. Like, they can be wholesome, they can be just funny, or just charming and cute in their own way. I really like Dojima and Nanako's, because they were so interrelated and predicated on family drama. So I really liked those, but I also kind of feel like one in the vein of Akinari's in just the tragedy factor that sometimes bad things happen and that life can be different things for different people at different stages in their life. It would be welcome. It's just something I really want to see, and I don't think that I am at all alone in this. I think that this would be probably, out of everything on this list, it's the thing that most would agree with me on, because of how great acclaimed Akinari Social Link is. And yeah, I guess that'll do it for now. Alright, so thanks for watching. So, like, like I said before, I was missing the raw, unedited feel that some of my earlier videos had. Even though, technically and in a lot of ways, my scripted content is much better. I do feel like there is a place on this channel for the unscripted stuff. and I'd appreciate some feedback because I would like to improve. I would like to say a lot less, babble less. But yeah, I'm actually happy with how this has turned out, so I guess I will leave that there. To the, I want to say left here will be my last list of six because that's usually what I do. Um, so it'll be the six demons from Shin Megami Tensei 1 to reappear in Persona 6. It's right here, and I was blanking on that for a second. Sorry. And to the right here will be, well, for a time, what I'll actually do is make it six colors from Persona 6 to appear in six potential colors for Persona 6. Sorry. And then and then when my next video comes out, I will put that one there because um, this background right here, the one that I've been reusing for the thumbnail, was actually intended to be used for my Pride Month special, and so I'm just going to do that instead. So yeah, I'll just use the so yeah, my next list of six, it's not a list of six, sorry. My next video, my Pride Month special, will be here on the left once that is done and uploaded. So until then, so yeah, I will see you then, and I hope everybody has a great week.